Hello everyone, this is Genius Yoshi, and today we are building our first list using Shimmering Skies. And let's start at the top of the metagame with ruby-amethyst Shimmering Skies version. So now, how do we go about building this deck? Well, we'll start with a couple of old classics. In particular, we'll want to have some solid card draw in our deck. So we're going to be playing some friends on the other side, and we're also going to be playing good old Merlin Rabbit. The bunny's been drawing cards as one of the best sources of card draw. So let's start with these two. Since we're playing the Merlin bunny, we might as well be playing the Madam Mim fox as well as the Madam Mim snake, which are very good early game options. Some nice rush tactics with the Madam Mim fox, and the snake is just a very strong 2-drop in terms of stats. Then we want to push and have removal spells in our deck. And one of the latest new removal spells that made a splash is Brawl, which we'll be playing in 3 copies. Just a nice way to remove pesky little threats, especially when they have weak power. Otherwise, not as effective. Also going to be playing the Kings of Removal, namely Maui. Just so good in challenge. Takes down them threats. And the best card, as voted by the community, some Be Prepared. So we have kind of a core of ruby-amethyst around here. We do need a bit more removal, and Madam Medusa has been one of the removal spells by excellence, so we're going to be including 3 of Madam Medusa with a single copy of Lady Tremaine, just so we have a bit of diversity in case the opponent's not packing too many of 3 power or less characters. But Madam Medusa is just so effective at removing these 3-powered characters that she deserves at least 3 copies. We do have to be a little bit careful when it comes to our uninkables. I think we can afford a bit more, but we already have 4, 5, 6, 7, 11. All in the relatively high costed. Well, we'll push to 13 with 2 copies of Be King Undisputed. Again, going in the same I remove everything you play type of theme. You play weak characters, I have Brawl, we have Madam Medusa. You're playing stronger characters, well, odds are you don't have all these smaller characters alive. So Be King Undisputed and Lady Tremaine are pretty good at removing these characters. We're going to be continuing to play 3 copies of Merlin Crab, as well as 4 copies of Sisu in our 3-drop slots. The Crab mostly gets inked, but he's useful to pump up these cheap drops or that Merlin bunny to take a KO or 2 here and there. Okay, probably just 1. Sisu just super strong stats for its cost, well deserving of the spot. And we're also going to be playing some Flynn Rider, since we're playing a lot of these high-powered characters such as Maui, Sisu, and Flynn gains you a lot of lore pretty fast. So at this point, it's a pretty standard list. Another high-powered card draw. Gives us a diversified threat. It is the Queen's Castle. So far so good. Not too many changes to the core of the list. We need removal, we need the card draw, we're playing the powerful cards. But we've gotten some nice additions from Shimmering Skies. In particular, because of the Mims, we need to be playing some 1-drops. And traditionally, it's been this one, the Magic Broom Illuminary Keeper, and we've seen some Churnbog's Follower. So they're just 1-drops that you can trade for cards. But now, we have an upgrade. Our first upgrade is Cogsworth, Illuminary Watchman, who can give one of your characters rush. And because we're playing the Madam Mims, that means we can rush again and again. You can rush a Sisu, you can rush a Crab, you can rush himself, and then play Merlin Crab and suddenly have a high-powered 1-drop that's rushing and trading with a much bigger threat. Lots of cool shenanigans that we can do with Cogsworth. You can also just play it as a 1-drop, bounce it back, and ink it. The option is yours. The other core piece that I must include is another Madam Mim, the Elephant. as the pronunciation from Lord of the Rings would say. Madam Mim Elephant, very powerful card, as a 3/7 for 4, and she gets to move damage counters off of her to the opposing characters once per turn at the start of your turn. Very strong ability. If you haven't seen my top 10 list, go take a look. These are some of the cards that made the list. Alright, so these are 2 upgrades that I want to be playing in 4 ofs. And if you've been counting, then we're at 59 cards. And the 1-of copy that I'd like to include to complete the list is the Sword Released. The Sword Released allows us to come back to relieve some of the pressure on our deck if we're playing against aggressive strategy. Against aggressive strategy, oftentimes they're going to go to 17, 18, maybe even 19 lore. And at that point, we must remove everything they play. Every single thing. Because they quest for 1, they win the game. Okay, we can let you have a Maui, that's fine. But anything else, we must remove it. Well, with the sword, we get to drain 1 of their lore every turn, as long as we have a character with the highest power. And we're already going for that with Flynn Rider. So that plays well into our game plan. And suddenly when they're not 19, they go to 18. We have the removal. Then we go to 17. We don't have the removal. Well, that's fine. We can give them 1 quest. And then our Mauis are ready to take care of whatever's left. Or our Madam Mims. Or whatever else we want to rush with our Illuminary Keeper. And we can also rush the Elephants with the Illuminary Keeper. And then once the Elephant, Madam Mim, has some damage on her, then we also have another source of removal at our disposal. If the opponent plays a small threat at the start of our turn, boom, redirect the damage, threat is gone, didn't really cost us a removal spell. We just let Madam Mim do her stuff in a new flavor of awesome, if we want to call that awesome and not meta oppression. With that said, all that remains is to take that list for a spin in action with some games coming right up. Alright, let's see who goes first. We're black. 6-2. We gotta go first. Let's check our opener. Mim Snake, Maui, Brawl, Mim Fox. So 5. Friends and another Maui. Alright, well that's a bit too many of those. So we're gonna send back a Maui and a Mim Snake back into the deck, and we pick up a pair of Magic Brooms. Alright. Initial shuffle going on here. As we get to go first. So we don't need 2 Magic Brooms. We're going to ink 1. And go Broom. Turn 1 Broom. Passing turn back. Opponent picks up card. Inks a Queen. I guess I should highlight the Illusionary Keeper, Magic Broom, I better query, Illuminary Keeper. Whenever we play another character, we can banish it to draw a card. Simple yet effective. So opponents ink the Queen, and it's going to land. Classic turn 1 Robin, as we get the turn back. What a Cogsworth. Illuminary and Watchman. Yes, Watchman. What do we do here? Kind of want to land that Mim Fox. I feel like I should be inking that Cogsworth. Or I can ink the snake, play the Cogsworth, eat the broom, draw a card. Maybe I'll do that. Ink the snake. Go for Cogsworth. Giving him self-rush for no reason. And Magic Broom gets to sacrifice itself so we can pick up a card. Actually, of course, you quest with the Broom first. Then you eat Broom. Well, play the Cogsworth. Pick up a Sisu. As we pass the turn back to our opponent, opponent picks up a card. As I should highlight Cogsworth again. The Illuminary Watchman. Opponent is going to ink another queen. Going to 2. And landing Mr. Smee. And Robin doesn't have any threat, so Robin can quest, bringing the score 101. As we get tempo back. Picking up a Merlin. Now we have Merlin and Sisu in play. I guess we could trade our Cogsworth for the Robin Hood by going Merlin. Then again, we have Madam Mim. That seems much better. So let's ink our Merlin. And on 3, we get to Mim Fox. Bring back the Cogsworth. We'll get our rush trigger for another day. And Mim is going to take out Robin, taking 2 points of damage in the exchange. But it's a good exchange because the opponent doesn't get a big Robin out of nowhere. And that's our play. Passing the turn back. 101's the score with the numbers. Yeah, I think this is better. It's just 1. Right. Opponent has drawn. Mr. Smee can challenge Mim if our opponent wants to. It's going to be a turn 3 ink, Strength of a Raging Fire, into a Let the Storm Rage On, hard-casted, targeting Madam Mim Fox. Taking her out, opponent picking up a card in the process. Not what our opponent was looking for, but still. Smee gets a double quest, up to 3, and point of damage at the end of turn, thanks to the lack of captaincy on the opponent's board. Turn passes back to us. 3 to 3. In terms of the ink, we find a Mim Snake. So we're on 4 now. Or turn 4. I don't think we really need this Brawl. Power 2 or less. We're short for the Maui. One play we can go Cogsworth, Mim Snake, bounce back to Cogsworth, ink the Brawl, Cogsworth giving rush to the Snake, and trade our Madam Mim Snake for Mr. Smee. Then our Cogsworth stays on the battlefield. We can go with the play Sisu and go. That might just be the play. We can. Oh, Sisu has 4 willpower. Let's do that same Madam Mim Snake thing, but with. Well, let's use Cogsworth to give Sisu rush. And Sisu gets +1 power for each card in the opponent's hand. The opponent has 5 cards in hand, so that's not a problem. Sisu is a beast. It's going to be a hasty beast at that. Yeah. Let's eat the Brawl to the ink pile. And go Sisu for 3, Cogsworth for 4, giving rush to Sisu. And Sisu gets to take down Mr. Smee with 3 points of damage. Smee goes down. And we pass the turn back. Sitting with only 3 cards in hand, but one of those is friends. Then we can never go wrong when we have friends on our side, or the other side. Opponent goes Aerial Spectacular Singer. Looks at the top 4 cards and finds nothing. Puts them on the bottom of their deck. As Alan the Dale is going to go to the ink pile. And the turn is going to pass back to us. Spectacular Singer, unexerted. So we find another Cogsworth. Not really what we're looking for, but we get the Sing Friends on the other side. Everyone's favorite card draw. Okay, probably not everyone's favorite. There's Flaversham and apparently Merlin Bunny, super popular. As we find a Madam Mim Elephant, as well as Madam Medusa. Now we have the Mim Elephant and the Cogsworth, which is really nice. Still haven't played anything. We're gonna ink a Mim Snake Go to 5. I guess we just play the elephant. Play the elephant in the room. Madam Mim, elephant. Overwhelming presence. We need to bounce a character since we played the elephant. We'll bring back... Do I want to heal my Sisu? Probably not. We'll bring back Cogsworth. And I'll just pass the turn back. Such a strong ability on the elephant. This is the hand of the opponent. Nothing's inkable. So I'd be tempted in this position to just sing a whole new world. It doesn't seem too tempting to do anything else. So let's sing it. Whole new world. Discard a bunch of stuff. Actually, that's a discard. I have 2 discards for it now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Whole new world. Whole new hand. Goodbye, Mr. Cogsworth and Madam Medusa. Sad to see you go. As we find 7 new cards. Maui, snake, friends. Another Cogsworth. Another elephant. A Brawl and Madam Medusa. Hand is pretty much stacked. And the opponent sang that with Ariel. So on 5. Opponent's going to ink a small Robin Hood to get the 5. And then play a big Robin Hood. And turn passes back to us. Sisu lives another day, which is pretty nice. So we find a Merlin. Well, because our opponent went to quest with Ariel, that means that Mim Elephant gets to challenge it. Take it out, put some damage on the elephant, which is what we want. Damage is red. And then what? Well, Sisu can quest. Let's start with that. Going to 3. Oh yeah, opponent has a Robin Hood on battlefield. That is easy pickings for Madam Medusa. Now that we've reached 6 ink. Goodbye, Robin. Off with his bow. And now things are looking really good for us. I don't pass the turn back. One picks up a card. Opponent inks another Robin. Goes to 6. I'll land the queen. I don't pass the turn. Turn passes back to us. Pick up a card. And our elephant triggers. So, at the start of our turn, we move 2 damage counter from this character to chosen opposing character. Full heal, just like that. We didn't really need it with that particular board state, but still. I'll quest for 4. I'm not sure what more we can do here. Well, the opponent can threaten grab your swords. So as the main piece of removal or damage-based removal in general. So elephants are particularly hard for our opponent to remove. That's a nice 7. I kind of want to keep the rush. Do I need the rush? I have a Maui. Hold on. Maybe I just get rid of the Brawl. Ink the Brawl. Go to 7 ink. Sisu elephant. And yeah, pass the turn back to our opponent. I don't think there's much that can get our opponent out of this. It's going to start with a Rapunzel. Heal 2, draw 2. Opponent only has 2 more ink remaining this turn. It's going to ink a Bare Necessities to try and get a bit more. Let the storm rage on. It's going to ping down our Sisu. The opponent will get a card in the exchange. But that's it. Queen gets to do a boost, which isn't overly useful now. Don't think the opponent can afford to lose the queen, so maybe queen just stays put for now. Alright. Opponent passes the turn back. So our pair of Mim elephants are dominating the board. Pick up another Maui. At this point, we can sing friends with one elephant, try to find a rabbit. We find a Flynn and Lady Tremaine. Tremaine is a nice pickup. We can land her, forcing the opponent to sacrifice Rapunzel. Then we need to start moving towards the win. Quest for 4, moving to 11. 3, 6, 7. We can ink another card. Ink Cogsworth. Cogsworth is in the ink, which allows the opponent to play a Flynn. Opponent's board is filled to the brim, flinned to the brim, as the opponent picks up their last pathetic card. And I don't think there's much he can do. I mean, that's what's on the menu. And yeah. The storm rage on is going to pick off Flynn. So that's 3 used. One picks up a card. Finds World's Greatest Criminal. We don't have anything that has 5 or more, so that's not overly useful. Queen can take out Sisu. They both trade, trying to slow us down a little bit. And then with 4, inks a bare necessity, out of necessity, to land a Robin Hood, or actually just the most stuff possible our opponent can land. It's going to be Smee and Benja. Passing the turn back to us, opponent with 3 cards in hand. So we pick up Queen's Castle, which is just perfect. We can land the castle, move everyone to the castle for infinite cards, and quest for 5. Going to 16, passing the turn back, and watching as our opponent is, well, defeated. One picks up Prince Naveen. It's not going to help. And there's nothing the opponent can do. And our opponent resigns in the face of our Min Elephants, Queen's Castle, and Ruby-Amethyst goodness. Let's take a look at game number 2 here. So we pick up, actually, before we pick up, we're black. Opponent will go first. We have a Cogsworth, Queen's Castle, Mim Elephant, Fox, Elephant, Brawl, and Snake. It's a little bit too many Mims. I'm going to send maybe one of the elephants and a Brawl back to the deck. Yeah, send those 2 back. As we pick up Friends and a Maui. Ruby-Amethyst the consistent way. Alright, opponent goes first. Does not draw a card. Opponent is going to ink, strike a good match, kicking off the races with a Cursed Merfolk. As the turn passes back to us, we pick up Sisu. Based on this hand, I want to go 1 Cogsworth, turn 2 Mim Snake, probably 3 Fox or Sisu. But if I don't have anything on the battlefield and I have Cogsworth back in hand, then the Fox isn't the best. So I'm going to ink the Fox off of that line of thought and go turn 1 Cogsworth. Hopefully it sticks. So we pass the turn back to our opponent. Opponent inks painting the roses red. And turn 2 is going to be Cursed Merfolks and Daisy Duck. I should highlight Queen of Ducks, Daisy. Which one is she? Donald State. That's the one. 1/4. Someone drop 2 quester. That whenever she quests, well, we get to draw a card conditionally. Opponent gets a quest with a Cursed Merfolk. I don't remember which one has ink drawing, but one of them doesn't. That's good enough for me. I think it's the other one, but still, good enough for me. As turn passes back to us, we pick up a second Cogsworth. Don't need the second one. Gotta send it straight to the ink pool. And on to, well, we really need to get rid of that Cursed Merfolk. So, challenge Merfolk. Have to discard a card. We're gonna discard our Queen's Castle because I really like Maui in the matchup. And go Mim Snake, bringing back our Cogsworth to hand. And that'll be our turn. Turn passes back to our opponent. Opponent inks a Flynn Rider. Goes to 3. And 3 means Diablo Devoted Herald. As the opponent goes to quest for 4. Goes up to 6. As turn passes back to us, we pick up a Brawl. Brawl is really nice here. Going towards 3. Although it's really nice to be able to just drop Cogsworth and take out the Cursed Merfolks, which will give us something to bounce back with Mim Elephant. We do need to take care of that Diablo though, so maybe we just take out Diablo this turn. Who needs cards? Ink friends. Alright, 3. Let's get rid of that Diablo. Goodbye. You got brawled. And Mim Snake is going to challenge. We don't take out Daisy. Let's challenge Daisy anyways. So, oh, Alice, I forgot. Whenever Daisy quests, we reveal the top card of our deck. If it's a character, we may put it in our hand. Should have done that earlier, but assuming the deck is a random pile, we would have gotten Medusa. As we pass the turn back to our opponent, opponent inks an Ursula Deceiver of All, goes to 4. And you're welcome. Opponent gets rid of our snake. Just banished. And we get to draw 2 cards. Well, thank you, opponent. Ruby-amethyst likes cards. Guess I should have highlighted you're welcome. You're welcome. Well, I can't find it. Alright. Doesn't seem to be on the side that I'm using. But essentially... Ooh, that's going to be tough to read. Shuffle chosen character or location into... Oh, shuffle it into your opponent's deck. I should read the card myself. Shuffling the Mim Fox. And that player draws 2 cards. Yeah, it's shuffle. Interesting. Alright, Emboldened quests for 4 goes to 10. Well, they're not wasting any time, I'll say that. As the turn passes back to us, and we pick up Queen's Castle. That's too slow for what we're doing. So we're going to send that to the ink pile. We're on turn 4. Then turn 4 means we get to... Do we double Cogsworth? And just clean out our opponent's board? That feels pretty great. Let's go for that. Cogsworth! And Cogsworth are each going to give themselves rush. Cogsworth. That deserves a highlight. I expected the card to be good. Didn't expect it to be that good. 1/1 rush. This one dies. And we just trade the board with this highly aggressive opponent. Well, except we keep a Cogsworth and a mitt full of cards. As we pass the turn back, opponents on 2 cards, which will both hit the battlefield. A pair of piglets, which is still threatening. If the opponent picks up another card, they can quest for 6 off of the piglets. So the turn passes back to us. Pick up a Merlin crab. And again, this is turn 5. We're not overly far into the game. I think we're going to ink that Merlin. Quested Cogsworth. Open up the score. Player Madam Mim Elephant. Bring back Cogsworth. And I guess we can play it again. Give him Mim rush for the turn, which is meaningless because there's nothing to challenge. And I'll pass the turn back. One picks up Baloo. Bodyguarding. Baloo comes in, bodyguarding the piglets. And the piglets quest for 6. I mean, I need to highlight Piglet at this point. Well, it's not a new card, but whenever you have 2 or more other characters, they get +2. So that brings our opponent to 16. And when Baloo's banished, it's going to give our opponent 2 more lore. Things are a bit rough. Let's pick up a card for a turn and let me reread Baloo. When this character is banished, gain 2 lore. There's really no way around it, except you're welcome, I guess. Well, that's a problem. One of Piglets is going to live. Yikes. So I want Mim to challenge a Piglet. I need Baloo to go down. We're on 5. So we're going to ink Sisu, I think. Sisu's not the most relevant right now. Go to 6. We can Madam Medusa or we can Maui. I think we want to keep Medusa, because Medusa can deal with unexerted characters. I want to trade that magic Broom for a card. So I can go Broom, Maui, pick up a card, send Maui to Baloo, Cogsworth doesn't do anything, and Mim Elephant takes out a Piglet. That seems good. Alright, Broom, Maui. Broom gets eaten for a card. We pick up a snake. And then Maui takes out Baloo. Opponent gains 2 lore off of the Baloo trigger. Mim Elephant takes out a Piglet. Takes 2 points of damage. And Cogsworth gets us closer to victory as we quest for 2. Quest 2-2. And we pass the turn back to the opponent. Piglet on the battlefield. Opponent drawing the Muses. Flying the Muses, questing for 1 with Piglet, and says, can you deal with my warded character? And to which we ready our characters, pick up a card. I swear, this is not set up. Madam Mim Elephant triggers. Honestly, I had even forgotten I was playing that card. So we move 2 damage counter, it shows opposing. That gets rid of Piglet. Actually, you may move. Let's pass on the trigger. I want to pass on the trigger because that's 2 damage at the start of my turn I can do to anything. So I'm going to pass on it. I'm going to use Maui to take out Piglet. Maui takes 2. Piglet goes down. And then we can play Be King Undisputed. Actually, we can sing it with the elephant. Is there any advantage? Nah, not really. I want the lore. Let's hardcast it. Hardcast Be King Undisputed. Each opponent chooses and banishes one of their characters, and that goes around a ward. As we quest for 2. Go to 4. Passing turn back. I think. Oh, he spent 4. Yeah. I want to keep the rest. Opponent picks up. Painting the Roses red. Casts it. Draws a card. Finds an Ursula. Plays it. Takes out or Be Prepared. As we ready our characters. We can't let our opponent quest for 1. We pick up a Sisu. Alright, well, this is going to be Madam Medusa. Medusa takes out Ursula. And we quest for 2, because Maui can't quest. Going to 6. Passing the turn back to our opponent. Opponent finds the bare necessities. Keeps it, I guess. Turn passes back to us. We find... We find a sword released. Again, perfect timing. Sword released on the battlefield. At the start of our turn, if we have a character with the most power, we drain our opponent of 1 lore. And this is exactly why I wanted to play 1 copy of the sword. Honestly, if I would have stacked the deck and played the game with... I don't think I could have gotten the cards better. For some reason, I can't search for items. Alright, well. As the start of my turn, if we have a character with more power, we drain the opponent of 1 lore. Well, technically we drain all the opponents, so that can get pretty crazy in multiplayers. But for now, we play it. That's 3. We play a Sisu. We quest for 3, and we pass the turn back to the opponent. Opponent picks up. Flynn Rider plays the Flynn. Turn passes back to us. We pick up a card for the turn. We get 2 triggers. Madam Mim Elephant gets to kill off Flynn Rider off of her trigger. Gets fully healed. Sword release triggers. We take up, and the opponent takes back down to 18. And suddenly we're pretty safe. And the game is almost won. We quest for 3, for 5, go to 15. Pass the turn back. Opponent's last turn. Opponent finds another Flynn. Bare necessities. Picks out or Be Prepared. But it doesn't matter. Turn passes back to us. We draw. Sword. Mim doesn't do anything. But we get to quest for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And take the win. Off of a super clutch matchup. We managed to take out most of our opponent's threat just in time. Get a few triggers here and there with a Mim and a Medusa, making use of the new elephant and getting the sword release for just a little bit of certainty and take the pressure off, as even Flynn wouldn't take us down next turn because the opponent is on 17 now, giving us more time, and then we can put some damage on Mim to get more removal at our ready. Whew, that was close. That was fun. Love that game. I hope that you've enjoyed the gameplay and video so far. Overall, the deck performed very well. I mean, this is an improved ruby-amethyst, and I must say Cogsworth felt fantastic as an upgrade for the 1-drop slot. And so did Madam Mim Elephant. Yes, she is weak to opposing Medusas, but who isn't really? Okay, half of our list, but still. Madam Mim Elephant just gives us a removal option to take out some of these pesky threats after a combat. She's very hard to remove. When the opponent doesn't have a Madam Medusa and has damage-based removal, she is hard to remove, like very hard. And yeah, we've seen that against the songs decks, against the aggro deck. She packed a punch. So I'm quite happy with these additions. And we've had the miraculous top deck of the sword released. I think that's probably a flavor pick. It's a nice option. One of is fine. I mean, we're drawing tons of cards with this deck. We don't want to get stuck with too many of those in our hand, especially since it's uninkable. But overall, I really like this flavor of ruby-amethyst. And if you're looking for a solid deck to play day one, that's a good list for you. Let me know in the comments below. Do you like this new way I'm doing the gameplay? Tabletop view? Or do you have any better recommendation for me? On the other side, if you don't want to talk about that, then let me know what you'd like to see me cover as the next decks. I'll be covering my other opponent decks that I'll be playing for the foreseeable future, which I consider are going to be strong meta decks pretty soon. So don't forget to like and subscribe so you don't miss out on these new videos. And on that note, have a great day, and I will see you next time.